I knew him from the days of my extreme youth. Extreme youth means from my early days, when he was quite young. So he knew these people about whom he is going to talk later from his very early days, because he made my father's food. Why? Because when he was a child, when the author was a child, this person used to make foods for his father, for the author's father. Inhabiting with his elder brother, two little shops let into one, in a small by street, now no more, but then most fashionably placed in the west end. So the shop was placed in the west end of the city, and there were two shops which let into one. So from outside, from the street, there seemed to be two shops, but once you go inside, they were interconnected, right? They were one. So this person was a bootmaker, was a shoemaker, and he used to make shoes along with his brother. Inhabiting with his elder brother means he lived with his elder brother, and both the brothers were engaged in this job of making shoes. Two little shops led into one. The small by street. So now no more. Now no more. Means that street is now no more. Where they used to have their shop or where they live. But then most fashionably. But at that time, when author was young, at that time, the shop was the place there most fashionably, means in a very stylish manner. The shop was one of the most stylish shops placed in the West End. The tenement had a certain quiet distinction. There was no sign upon its face that he made for any of the royal family, merely his own German name of Justin. So at that time, what happened? The tenement had a certain quiet distinction. Tenement means a huge building which is a large building, or a huge building which is divided into flats. So that building had some distinction. There was something different about their building. Why? Because there was no signboard on which it was written that they made shoes for the royal family. This is how we advertise, right? Today's world, this is how we advertise our product. We have designed clothes for great film stars, right? We have done this, done that. We have received so many awards, but they were very humble people. See, if you will give quality, you really need not advertise that. So that there was something different about that building. The building, tenement means building which is divided into small flats. So there was no sign upon its face that he made for any of the royal family. So there was nothing written of the sort which mentioned that he made boots for the royal family. Nothing like this was mentioned there. Merely his own German name of Justin. So only one thing was written, that is the name of the shop, their own German name. They were German people. These boot makers, they were German, right? So their own name, that is Jessler Brothers, because there were two brothers engaged in the profession. So their own German name, that is Jessler Brothers, was mentioned. Nothing else. No kind of advertisement. And in the window, a few pairs of boots. So there were not many boots on display. Just in the window, there were two, three boots, few pair of boots. Few pairs of boots. They were kept there upon the window. I remember that it always troubled me to account for those unvarying boots in the window. So the author, being young, he always thought unvarying means without changing. So he has always seen only those pair of boots on the window, right? For years and years, he kept on seeing those pair of boots kept there. So they were never changed. The boots which were there for display, they were never changed. So that is what he says. I remember that that it always troubled me to account for those unvarying boots in the window. So the writer was always troubled that why they don't change the boots. For he made only what was ordered. So what was the thing which troubled him? He was troubled by on seeing those booths on the window. Why? Because they made customized products. What do you mean by customized products? Customized product means the customer will go there, the customer will tell them about their requirement, and then only they will make the boots. Right? So that is why the writer was troubled. That how come they have these extra pairs to keep them for display? Why? Because they made according to the requirements of the customer. So how did they manage to have those extra pairs which were kept in the window? So this was something which troubled the author. Troubled me to account for those unwearing boots in the window, for he made only what was ordered. So he made only on order, reaching nothing down, and it seemed so inconceivable. Inconceivable means something which is like almost impossible for you to even think. So something which is impossible to think, that is inconceivable. So it seemed so inconceivable that what he made could ever have failed to fit. So that was the reason why the author was troubled on seeing those boots on the window, those few pairs which were always kept on the window. They were never changed. Why? He was troubled for two reasons. The first was that he only made products on demand according to the customer's requirement. Right? So how come he has those extra pairs to keep on the window? Then the second reason was the boots which were made by him, it would be like impossible to think that they were the ones who never fitted the customers, or the customers rejected them, because their quality was so perfect that there was no question of even thinking that the boots must have been rejected by the customer, could have failed to fit, right? So why? Because they didn't they didn't fit the customer, so the customer must have rejected it. So this was something which was beyond imagination. The author cannot even think of it, that these people who are so perfect in their job, they will ever make a good they will ever make any product which would fail to fit the customer. This is clear. So that is why he was troubled on seeing those boots. Had he bought them to put them there? Then the writer thought that were they bought by them to place it there on the window? That too seemed inconceivable. This also was like unbelievable for the author. He would never have tolerated in his house leather on which he had not worked. Why? This also was something beyond the writer's imagination, because they were the people who would not allow any piece of leather to enter their shop on which they have not worked. So again, that question of buying the boots and keeping them on the window, that was like not something which could have happened. Right? He would never have tolerated in his house leather on which he had not worked himself. Besides, they were too beautiful. And besides those boots which were there, they were very beautiful. The pair of pumps. Now, what are pumps? Pumps are the shoes with low cut front and without the laces. So they are a type of boots which are low cut and they don't have any, you can say, laces to fasten them. So those are known as pumps. So inexpressibly slim. So the boots which were kept on the window, they were very beautiful. They were a pair of pumps. So, and they were very slim. The patent leathers, the cloth tops making water come into one's mouth. So the leather used was a patent one. Means the good quality leather was used to make those boots. And they were mouth watering. Means you look at those boots and you would be tempted to possess them. The tall brown riding boots. So because it has been mentioned there, there were few pairs. So one was a pair of pumps. It was very beautiful. And because it was very slim and it was very appealing to make water come into your mouth. To make water come into one's mouth means very tempting, very attractive. So the tall brown riding boots. And then the next pair was tall brown riding boots with marvelous sooty heel. So those were the boots which were meant for riding. And how were they? They were sooty, they had a sooty glow. Sooty means, soot is a black powder, right? So that black powdery look was there. This is that powder. You can say it is a very dull black. When the powder which is produced on burning, that is soot. Right? So it's not very bright black color. It's a very dull black color. So the next pair, that is the riding boots, they had a sooty glow, as if though new they had been worn. Right? So though those boots were new, but they seemed as if they were worn for 100 years. Right? Those pairs could only have been made by one who saw before him the story. And it was not possible for any person to make these pairs, these type of boots can only be made by someone who was very passionate about his art, right? Who could see the soul of boots, who could see the spirit of boots, soul of boots. So truly were the prototypes incarnating the very spirit of all footwear. Footwear means footwear. So they were the prototypes. Prototypes means the first form or the first copy of something. That is the prototype. So you develop a particular thing on the prototypes. So they were the prototypes. They were the first form of the shoes which were kept there, incarnating the very spirit of all. And they were like, incarnate means to give human form, to give proper physical shape. Here the meaning is to give proper physical shape. So they were just the first form of the boots which were kept there, and which were like they incarnated the very spirit, the very soul of all the footwear. You could see the soul of footwear, the soul of footwear coming to life in those boots. These thoughts, of course, came to me later. Though even when I was promoted to him, means earlier the writer's father used to visit the shop. But then when he grew up, he was promoted to him, means he also started visiting the shop for getting his boots made by these people, that is Jesler brother. So these thoughts, of course, came to me later. So even when I was promoted to him at the age of perhaps 14, so when this writer, he turned 14, he was promoted to him. Means he was his boots, the responsibility of making his boots also came on the Jesler brother. Some inkling haunted me of the dignity of himself and us. So inkling is when you have an intuition kind of a thing. That is inkling. When you like have a feeling that something is about to happen. So that is inkling. So some inkling haunted me. Haunted me means frightened me of the dignity of himself and his. So the writer had some idea. He had some intuition about the dignity of these people, how dignified these people were, how great artists these people were. Sorry. For to make boots, such boots as he made seemed to me then and still seems to me mysterious and wonderful. So he had some idea, he had some intuition about their dignity. Why? Because to make boots, such boots as he made, to make the type of boots which these people made, which Mr. Jesler made, seemed to writer at that time, and still he believed that to make the type of boots made by Mr. Jesler is something mysterious, and it is really very wonderful, which you will not find anywhere else easily. Very difficult to find these type of boot makers, right? So because they were very awesome as far as their profession was concerned, they were perhaps the best as far as their profession and their job was concerned. They were the great artists as far as boot making was concerned. So and the writer, before the writer could actually know them properly, he had some idea when he was promoted that they were very dignified artists. I remember well my shy remark one day while stretching out to him my youth. So the writer says that he remembers that once he passed a remark. He said something to Mr. Jesler. One day when he was stretching his foot out, right? Youthful foot means when he was quite young. So during his youth, he must have gone there to get some boots made by Mr. Jessler, and then while stretching his foot forward, he must have said something. Isn't it awfully hard to do, Mr. Jessler? So what did he say? What did the writer say? He said that, isn't it very difficult to do this, whatever you are doing, making such wonderful boots, making such great boots, isn't it a difficult job to do? And his answer, given with a sudden smile from out of the sardonic redness of his hair. So his beard was red in color. So sardonic means mocking. Mocking means when you are like, when you consider yourself to be very important, right? So that, see, all these great artists, they are very proud of their profession because they know that they are wonderful in their job. So that kind of that pride in his profession, that self-importance. So with that smile of self-importance, he said, "It is an art." They were German people, so they will speak like this. It is an art means it is an art. Right? He means to say that it is an art. So when the author asked him, "Isn't it awfully difficult? Isn't it terribly difficult to make such wonderful boots?" So Mr. Jessler replied, he smiled, right? And a sardonic smile was there, right? Trying to give a feeling of self-importance. And he said that it is an art. Himself, he was a little as if made from leather, with his yellow, crinkly face and crinkly reddish hair and beard. So this paragraph contains the description of Mr. Jessler. Please mark it as important. Because if you are asked to write about the character of Mr. Jessler, then you will need to describe his physical appearance. So himself, he was a little as if made from leather. So he himself seemed to be as if he was made from leather, because he had spent almost his entire life with leather. So now he also seemed to be as if made from leather, with his yellow crinkly face. Crinkly means wrinkled, so they were old. So his face was almost yellow and crinkly. Crinkly means with a lot of wrinkles. And crinkly reddish hair and beard. So, and his hair was also thick, curly, you can say wavy. Reddish hair and beard. A neat folds slanting down his cheeks to the corner of the. So there were neat folds which were slanting down on his face to the corners of his mouth, with the corners of his mouth. And his guttural and one-tone voice. And guttural means very deep. So his deep voice, guttural voice, and one-tone voice. And then there was only one tone in his voice. He always talked in that one particular tone. There was not much of tonation and modulation in his voice. For leather is a sardonic substance and stiff and slow. And then he used to say that leather is a sardonic substance and stiff and slow to purple. So it's not easy to work on leather. It's difficult to work on leather because it can be transformed only slowly into a food. And that was the character of his face, save that his eyes. So similarly, because of being with leather throughout his life, he was also almost transformed into a leather. So, like leather is slow to purpose, so his face was also slow to purpose. Means it took a lot of time to change the expression. Save that of his eyes. Except save that of his eyes means except his eyes, which were grey blue, had in them the simple gravity of one secretly possessed by the eye. So his eyes, which were grey and blue in color, had in them the simple gravity. Simple gravity means had in them the seriousness of one secretly possessed by the eye. His eyes seem to have the seriousness, the gravity, which can only be possessed by an ideal, somebody who is an ideal, right? Somebody who has achieved greatness in his job. Only those people can have that kind of seriousness, of solemn expression in their eyes. His elder brother was so very like him, though watery, paler in every way. So his elder brother also resembled him. So very like him means had a very sharp resemblance with him, though watery, paler in every way. So he was even more watery. Watery means even more thin, right? So though this person, Mr. Jessler, was not fat, but his elder brother was even thinner than him, paler in every way, and he was even more, he was even more pale than him, Mr. Jessler. With a great industry. Industry means with great hard work. It's the great hard work which they used to do day in and day out. That sometimes in early days I was not quite sure of him until the interview was over. So author says that during his early days he was not very sure of his elder brother till the time the interview was over, means till the time he happened to meet him once. Then only he came to know about his elder brother and his sharp resemblance with Mr. Jessler. Right? Till that time he was not very sure of him. Then I knew that it was he. If the words I will ask my brother. So they resembled so much that author was not able to differentiate between them. Till the time, what happened? Till the time, once he was talking to Mr. Jessler and he said that I will ask my brother. Brother means brother, right? So till the time he once mentioned while talking, while interview here means while talking during the course of conversation, that I will ask my brother. Then only he came to know that there is one more Mr. Jessler had not been spoken, and that if they had, it was his elder. So then only he came to know that he had an elder brother, and it was his elder. Other person was his elder brother. Anything you want me to explain? Then one grew old and wild and ran up bills. One somehow never ran them up with gesture. Ran up bills means when you have a large amount of debt, that is running up bills. Running up bills or running up debts, that's the medium, and the meaning is when you owe a lot of money to someone else. So when you have a large amount of debt. So he says that when one grew old and wild and ran up the bills. So once a person grew old and became wild, then also the person cannot afford to be indebted to Jessler brother. We cannot owe a lot of money to Mr. Jessler. Why? It would not have seemed becoming to go in there. Why? Because you will not seem okay. Not becoming means not right. This won't seem very correct to go to their place and stretch out one's foot to that blue iron spectacle glance. Blue iron spectacle glance means they used to wear specs which had blue frame. So the blue iron spectacle glance owing him for more than say 2 pairs. So at the most you can owe money for 2 pairs, right? Or something will start pinching you. Something would start pinching your conscience. If you just entered their shop and stretched your foot when you were owing a lot of money to them, when you were owing money which was more than 2 pair of shoes. So that would seem very unbecoming, and that won't seem very correct thing to do. So you simply cannot run bills up with Mr. Jessler. This is what the writer means to say, that you will be forced to pay, means if something will make you feel the discomfort. And stretch out one's foot to that blue iron spectacle glance, owing him for more than say 2 pairs. Just the comfortable reassurance that one was still his client. And that 2 pairs also just to give a reassurance that you are still their client. Right? Having a debt means that you are still the client. So at the most, you can go to their shop owing a debt of 2 pair of shoes, right? Not paying the bills for 2 pair of shoes, and that would also be like something to reassure them, to confirm in front of them that you are still their client, right? And you are still dealing with those people, and will pay the money somehow. For it was not possible to go to him very often. Why? Because it was not very quite possible for people to visit their shops quite often. Why? Because their shoes were very durable and they lasted for a very long period of time. His boots lasted terribly. So once your boots are not spoiled, why will you go again and buy a fresh pair? So that is why. That was the reason that you couldn't go to their shops very often, having something beyond the temporary. So they cannot be even called temporary products because they lasted a very long period of time. Some as it were essence of food stitched and seemed as if the very essence of boot, as if the very spirit, as if the very intrinsic quality of the boots was stitched by them, right? So actually here the meaning of essence of boot means the spirit, the soul of boot was stitched in by Mr. Jester. One went in, not as into the most shops. Now, how you were supposed to visit their shops and how you were treated once you were inside their shop. The writer has given a description of it. Once went in, once you entered their shop, as not as into most shops. So you will not be treated in a similar manner like you are treated in the rest of the shops. In the mood of please serve me and let me go. So when once you enter any normal shop, what is there in your mind? That please serve me, please fulfill my requirement. I am here to buy the product, so please serve me with whatever I want and let me go. This is something which is in your mind when you visit any normal shop. But you cannot enter the shop of Mr. Jessler with this idea in your head. Why? But restfully as one enters church. Why? Because when you are entering the shop of Mr. Jessler's, you will enter it as if you are entering a church. So you need to have all the time in the world when you are going to their shop. Nobody will be there waiting for you or calling out like, ma'am, please come, ma'am, please come. No such thing will be seen in the shop of Mr. Jessler. So you will have to enter as if you are entering. You don't go to the church or the place of worship in a hurry. So these days people do that also. But like I have 5 minutes, quickly I should go and visit the place of worship and then leave. But this was normally not done by the people in those days. So that is why, that is the meaning, that you cannot enter their shop in a hurry. You will go with a very peaceful mind, with a very relaxed mind and with a lot of time, but restfully, as one enters a church, and sitting on the single wooden chair, waited, for there was never anybody there. So what will you have to do? You enter the shop like you have entered a church, and then there was one wooden chair kept there. So you are supposed to go there and be seated very quietly, because you will not find anyone waiting for you to serve you, to ask you, yes sir, what can I do for you? Nobody, no such thing would be seen. Soon over the top edge of that sort of bed, rather dark and smelling soothingly of leather. So then after some time, what will happen? Once you enter their shop and you seated yourself, then from the top edge, right, from the top portion, what will happen? That sort of a well, which seemed to be like a well, rather dark. Why? Because it was very dark and smelling, and everywhere, all over the place, there was very relaxing smell of leather, soothingly of leather, which formed the shop. So this was the smell. This smell of leather was something which pervaded the entire shop, which filled the entire shop. There would be seen his face. Then from the top portion, he would just show his face, and that of his elder brother peering down. And so or that of his elder brother. So either he would just peer down. Peer down means look with difficulty and with a lot of concentration. Who is there? So like very carefully he will look down, or his elder brother will look down. A guttural sound. Then again a very deep sound would be heard, and the tip tap of vast slippers beating the narrow wooden stairs. And then the next thing will be you will hear the tip tap of bast slippers. Bast are, the bast is a fiber, right, which is obtained from trees. So the slippers, when you walk with those slippers, they make a lot of sound. Right? So then you will, after some time, after they have appeared from the top, you would hear some tip tap sound, right, which will be the sound of someone coming down the stairs, wooden stairs. And he would stand before one without coat. And then you would see Mr. Jessler standing in front of you without wearing a coat, a little bent. He was, because he was old, because of his age, and because of not being very healthy, his back was not straight, it was a little bent, in leather apron, wearing a leather apron with sleeves turned back. Sleeves turned back means sleeves folded. The sleeves of his shirt were folded. Blinking as if awakened from some dream of, and he would look at you, blinking, his eyes blinking as if he has just got up, he has just been awakened from some dream of boots. He was in some dreamland of boots, and he was pulled out of there. He would look at you like that. Or like an owl surprised in daylight, annoyed at this interruption. Or you can compare him to an owl, right, who has been, owls, they don't feel very comfortable during the daytime. They are nocturnal creatures. So, like an owl who has been surprised in daylight and annoyed at this interruption. And his expression was not a very happy one. Why? Because he was an artist. He must be very busy making his food. And then somebody was there to disturb him. So, that kind of, like he seemed to be annoyed, like an owl who is not very comfortable during daytime, or like someone who has been pulled out of his dream of boots. So there was that annoyed expression on his face, annoyed by the interruption. Why? Because of the interruption it was caused in his work. And I would say, how do you do, Mr. Jessler? Could you make me a pair of Russian leather boots? So then the author would say that, how are you, Mr. Jessler? I am here for a Russian pair of boots. So can you please make pair of Russian pair of boots for me? Without a word, he would leave me. So Mr. Jessler, he didn't reply anything. Without even uttering a word, he would just go inside. Retiring whence he came. Retiring whence he came means going back to the place from where he came. Means going back again to the same well-like place, and into the other portion of the shop. And then he entered the different portion of the shop, and I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the incense of his trade. Inhaling the incense of the trade means, what was his trade? His trade was leather. So inhaling the incense of his trade means inhaling the smell of leather. So he just went inside without saying anything. Author demanded a pair of Russian boots, Russian leather boots. Mr. Jessler heard, went inside from where he came back, and then he entered the other portion of the shop. And the writer very nicely sat in the wooden chair, which was kept. Soon he would come back holding in his thin, veined hands. Thin, veined hand means because he was very thin. So you must have seen the hands of very thin and old people. How do they appear? All the veins, those greenish blue veins, they are very obvious. So that is the meaning of veined hand. Means all the veins were visible. All the veins of his hand were visible. A piece of gold brown leather. So then he came back after some time with a piece of gold brown leather in his hand. With eyes fixed on it, he would remark, what a beautiful piece. What a beautiful piece means what a beautiful piece. Here piece means piece. So he would just come back with a leather in his, with a piece of leather in his hand, gold brown leather in his hand, and continuously admiring that piece. He was not interested in looking at the writer. He was just holding that leather which he brought from inside and looking and admiring the beauty of that leather. And then he would utter, what a beautiful piece it is. When I too had admired it, he would speak again. And so the writer also would admire it and say, then the Okay. So after the writer had admired it, liked that piece of leather, then Mr. Jessler spoke. When do you want them? So his next question would be, when do you need these boots? And I would answer, oh, as soon as you conveniently can. So as soon as you can make them comfortably, right, without taking the extra trouble, as soon as you can deliver it to me. And he would say, tomorrow fortnight. Tomorrow fortnight means from tomorrow a fortnight. Fortnight means a period of 14 days. Right? So approximately 2 weeks. So from tomorrow, 2 weeks. Or if he were his elder brother. Or this Mr. Jessler would say, or if it was not Mr. Jessler, his elder brother would come down. Then what he would say, then his elder brother, or if it was his elder brother, I will ask my brother. So then the brother would reply that I would ask my elder brother, means the elder Mr. Jessler. So these were the two replies he got. It's clear till here. We'll stop here and continue with the story tomorrow. If you have any doubts, you can ask me just now.